looking forward to the next team in Los Angeles, the Los Angeles Clippers.
Oh no,
Toddy, it's looking like I was wrong, and you were right. But actually, it looks like we were both wrong because you said play-in, and at this rate, it's top 5. So it is not looking well for the Los Angeles Clippers. Oh, Toddy's coming back. It is not looking good for the Los Angeles Clippers. Toddy said 6 seed. I said 4 seed. So it's not looking good. And they are coming off a 6-game losing streak. Kawhi Leonard has an ankle injury, a foot injury. Chris Paul has 3 straight DNPs. Nicholas Batum, Brooke Lopez, giving them jack shit. And the worst part about this, for the next 3 years, all them picks go to OKC. So I asked this question: is it time to panic? No, because you're in a 3-year panic. Couple months ago, you were the 5th seed, Game 7 against the Nuggets, and now we're here. Another Kawhi injury. The acquisitions that they got that we thought were going to have a huge impact. They were going to have the deepest team in the NBA. Excuse me. A, B, C, and D. More of the story is they chose to go old at the wrong time. Bringing in all these guys and them having no contribution. And I'm going to say this, and I'm going to move on because I told you how I felt about Bradley Beal last episode, but now he's out for the season. Is it time to panic? Yes, but the panic is going to be over a 3-year span because you don't have a first-round pick. Unless you're going to sit here and say we're trading Kawhi and James Harden and Ivan Zubac. Ty Lue already came out and said we're going to play our young guys. And he ended up that very next game playing 2 two-way guys, 25-plus minutes. That's not a good thing. That means Steve is saying, hey, man, fuck it. Let's see what we got. Let's see if the young guys we have are going to be good enough to be rotators or rotational players. If they were to trade a James Harden and were to trade a Kawhi Leonard, what do they get in return? I don't know. Kawhi has the injury problems. James Harden's 36, but we saw last year he's still playing at an All-NBA, All-Star level. So he's still playing very well. We saw what Kawhi was able to do in the playoffs. If I'm a Clippers fan, I'm saying let's trade them and try to recoup something. Out of respect, you're not going to send them to Utah for good picks. You're not going to send them to Charlotte for good picks. You're going to send them to a contender. So at this point, you got to get rid of them because holding on to all of these players and hoping you turn it around. Like, yes, you have a top 5 coach in the NBA. You have a top 5 point guard. You have a top 5 small forward. You could even say Ivan Zubac is a top 5 center, but that's not enough. And it's really looking bad because a Norman Powell would have looked really good. And when we talked about the trade initially, it was like, oh, you're going to get rid of Norman Powell and bring in John Collins, Brooke Lopez, and Chris Paul. And of course the Clippers won the deal. And 3 weeks in, it's not looking hot. So, Toddy, is it time to panic for the Los Angeles Clippers?
I'm still kind of confused on, do you think it's time for them to panic, or you were just kind of just like...
It's time to panic, but I mean, you're going to panic for 3 years. So you don't have a single first-round pick. So it's really hard. And I did think about this when I wrote it because I listened to the Windhurst podcast, and he mentioned the 3 first-round picks that they owe the Clippers or the Thunder. So it's like because they owe these picks, they went big fish. They went big fish hunting because they wanted to contend.
Sam Presti the Howie Roseman of the NBA?
He's worse. Howie ain't pulling nothing. That's like us trading for Jahmyr Gibbs against 7 first-round picks. Like that's criminally, like that's a crime. What he did to them, and for Shea to become the best player in the world, one of the best players in the world, brother.
It goes all the way back to the Paul George and Pat Bev in Vegas. The Paul George and Pat Bev will win the championship. Do I think it's time for the Clippers to panic? I'll say yes. I was one of the guys. I mean, people have been calling me out for all the Bear stuff that I've said on here on the podcast. I was on this a little bit early. It was fresh off of. It was like in the summer, and I was looking at the Clippers roster. I was like, yeah, you got Kawhi, yeah, you got James. You traded. I don't recall how I felt about the Norman Powell trade, but I wasn't like jumping over the fence for it. But I did think Norman Powell was a very solid player for them who could score the basketball, create his own shot, come off the bench and kind of provide that spark. And then they got John Collins, a younger guy, and I was just like, okay, you get a younger, athletic wing who can defend. Didn't really shoot the ball well because his hand was messed up. I think he broke his hand or had surgery on his finger or something like that. And he was coming from Utah. And I was always just kind of like, how did the Clippers get better? And I never really thought that their team got better. I always thought they kind of just stayed in limbo, stayed the same, and didn't really progress. Coming off of an emotional playoff performance against the Denver Nuggets, who ended up going to the Western Conference Finals. And a lot of people will probably argue to the death, if Aaron Gordon doesn't have that tip dunk, then the playoffs would have been a little bit different. I don't know if the Clippers would have went on, made the
Thunder.
Western Conference Final. I'm not saying that would have happened, but their playoff hopes would have been a little bit more. It would have been a little bit more wide open for them to kind of make some noise and make a deep playoff run. But I'm always wondering, is James Harden playing and is Kawhi Leonard playing? Really, if Kawhi Leonard is playing, and that's your star guy. He's the guy. He's the franchise. And for me to question if you're going to be in or out of the lineup is just a red flag in itself. We understand the talent that Kawhi Leonard brings to this team and what he's done in the past. Yes. I'm not going to go off and go on a Stephen A. rant, say he's the worst superstar in NBA or in like sports history, NBA history. I'm not going to say that, but it comes down to how reliable are you, and are you going to play? And when you don't play, our team, it kind of revolves around you. And when you're not playing, we suck. And when James Harden
to put it nicely,
either, we also suck. And then you got Chris Paul out there just running around getting cardio. I'm just, hey, it just comes back to the TikTok that you keep seeing of Chris Paul and Kawhi and James Harden, Brad, and they just keep calling it the unction. So, I mean, these are all guys that we've seen, like Brad. I've been a Brad supporter. When he went to Phoenix, I was saying, this guy averaged 30. He was this, that, and the third. Like, he's a guy that can go get a bucket. Kevin was just like, it's that one meme where he just has his hand on your shoulder. It was like, hey, man, I don't know what you thought this was. This ain't.
But it ain't that.
This ain't that. And that ain't this. And Kevin has always kind of just put his hand on my shoulder and say, hey, man, you don't see it yet, but I see it for you. The end is near. And it's kind of just like, and you see him get hurt, which obviously sucks because you thought that him, his situation in Phoenix was kind of a weird situation. He would smile. He's like, I love it here. They're paying me how much?
Man.
Yeah, they're paying me how much? So
I play basketball in Alaska for 50 M's a year.
Man, it was a good time for him. And I just think basketball didn't really work out for him with the system, and just the whole vibe of Phoenix for him wasn't a good space. And he ends up going to the Clippers and doesn't really play. It's kind of been in and out of the lineup with injury, and obviously is out for the year. So it kind of goes back to me, or not me. It kind of goes back to the statement of, do super teams work? And it's kind of like you see how teams are constructed versus how teams are bought and forced together. And it doesn't usually always work. Now, we can kind of go down the line of what a super team is, this, that, and the third. You go, I guess, the first super team.
Don't you? Okay, I thought you said the Heat. I was going to end the stream.
The Celtics team with KG and how that team was formed. A lot of people are going to say, obviously, the Heatles, but that team was that worked. They won championships. So I mean, like,
so you're saying it's only a super team if they win?
Yeah, I mean, the KD Warriors, like, And then we kind of look at it from, we could go all the way back to when it was the Karl Malone, the Gary Payton Lakers. They were like, we gotta run and we gotta go get one. And they got bounced by the Pistons. And super teams don't really always work. Now, a lot of people now are going to try and put that super team logo on certain teams. Like people like tried to say that the Thunder team was a super team. And I'm like, no, 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 no. Well, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander was traded for, obviously, in the trade that Kevin already mentioned that has the Clippers panicking. And with those picks, they drafted who? Chet Holmgren. They drafted Jalen Williams. Who else is on their team from
Casey Wallace.
Like this, the Presti was cooking. And I don't know if he
they have 3 first-round picks this year.
And I don't know if he saw the second apron. I'm pretty sure he probably saw something about it brewing. I don't know if he saw to this magnitude of what it would look like, but the second apron and how it's kind of limiting a bunch of teams, it's kind of stopping teams from forming a super team, basically. And so it's putting a lot of pressure on these GMs to get out and do their job and draft and draft well. And we're seeing guys like AJ Mitchell who signed a 3-year, $5 million deal, and he's averaging like 18 points.
UC Santa Barbara.
So I mean, I just think there's guys who know ball. Sam Presti's one of those guys who's doing a hell of a job, and then there's guys that kind of just sit in the front office and just kind of just do nothing, and they think that they could run their team back and not try and build around them, make any type of progressions to be better, and it's crazy what this Clippers team is, what the future could look like.
Nothing.
What the future could look like down the line, and how bad it could go back to when people were having bags over their heads. That's how bad it could get. So, they got to figure it out. I don't know how you figure it out, but Kevin's saying you trade all your guys.
We'll try to get some kind of draft capital.
Get something, but it's just what are we doing there? I feel like the Clippers are just kind of stuck, and they just got a new arena last year too.
James Harden to the Bucks
for AJ Mitchell or AJ Green, and like picks.
No, they probably have to send away some of their bigger contracts.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't see a way where, unless they figure it out, I don't see a year where they finish on their team. Moving